I really believe that you're a product of your environment. I'm just an average guy that moved to Michigan and happened to pick Alexandria to move to. And this town, with the number of people that are engaged in this community on all different fronts, on business fronts, on social fronts, on charitable fronts, you just that rubs off on you, and you can't but help to get involved in this community because of that osmosis process. And in my years here, my 40 some years here, I've met a whole lot of people that have really influenced me. And you can't but help to get drawn in to do things for the community because you see so many people around you doing the same thing.
The things that inspire me to do what I do is that because I was so shocked that I was living at a time that a lot of these people were making history and I did not know. I became very close to Mr. Ferdinand Day, and he's about 95 years old now, and I wrote about him in a book that I published, co-authored last year, and he was so concerned about his passing, and he said, Char, I really want people to know after I'm gone what all the contributions that the African Americans made. And I'm afraid that once I'm gone, it will be forgotten. And I promised him, I said, Mr. Day, as long as I'm kicking, and I hope I live as long as you, I will make sure that people would know the contributions that people made.
I think that I'm still not only pleased at being asked and then selected as a living legend. And of course, I'm only 39, so, I have a way to go before I get to be a real legend. But I think that it's just, again, it covers so much in the city, what the city has to offer and how people become involved. And I think that while you are doing all of the things that you're interested in or have been asked to participate, you never really say, oh, well, I'll probably be a living legend. That's not the point. The point is that you're doing what you hope is helpful to the community. That's the main thing.
In terms of Carpenter Shelter in Alexandria, for instance, it is an entity that is so effective in what it does. It tackles the extremely difficult issue of homelessness and takes people, some without hope, from that to returning to society, never to go back into homelessness again, having learned how not to be homeless, how to avoid the things that cause that in the first place, and how to gain in their lives so that they can avoid it. The statistics are, I love to repeat, because it has over a 90% success rate for people who go through the whole program, part of which is mandatory education, as well as a number of personally oriented training programs and educational programs. It is the shelter part is the physical part. That is not the part that really makes a difference. It's teaching people out of homelessness that really makes a difference, and Carpenters does that so well.
It's interesting to think of what I would say to someone who had never heard of the Living Legends. It's almost what I say about sermons. And I make the analogy in this way, short and sweet. I'd rather see a sermon than hear one. Living legends are people, again and again and again, who give of their time in volunteerism to make a difference in this city. And it is a great city for volunteerism. And Living Legend, I believe, stand almost at the top of that list.
It starts with wanting to help, whether you're a kid or an adult. And realizing that because of who you are and because you have some abilities, whatever they are, there is a way that those abilities can be used to help other people beyond just yourself. And it takes a little bit of effort, but not very much, to find out an organization in Alexandria that cares about the same things that you care about. And you don't have to make up a new program all by yourself. You can if you have the motivation. But if you just have the desire to help, it's not difficult to find an organization to become involved with that can bring you in slowly and say, here, you can work, hand out these cans of food to people that come up to the front of the line. And you begin to get an appreciation of the gratitude in people's faces and the gratitude in yourself when you realize that you are doing something that makes a difference.
Allowing residents to be trained so that they could take back their community. We linked up with the Alexandria Police Department. We had residents trained, and we made block captains. We made site representatives. And during a time that there was a massive drug problem in the public housing sector located on North Alfred Street, the residents set out. They decided, we're going to take back our community. I think that was the most strongest evidence of a resident participation that could ever be. And that example then trickled down to other cities and other developments of public housing where the residents decided, we're not going to take this anymore. You're not going to be able to come into our community and invade our community with drugs. We're going to stand up against this. And they set out every Friday night. We had the police presence there. We had residents there. We had other community members there. We had ministers there. We had choirs there. Everyone wanted to be a part of this action whereby the residents declared, we're taking back our community.
In my community service, I think that the one thing that I've always strived to do, and that is in building a board that's effective and one that's effective in working with both the administration at, like for instance, at Alexandria Hospital, or the staff at senior services. You want to build a board that is effective, and in my mind, the only way you can be effective is to work collaboratively to build consensus. And if anyone were to look at my own resume, I can assure you, and this is not out of some sense of modesty, those accomplishments aren't mine individually. I don't think any of those could have been accomplished without the collaboration and the relationships of the other people. I mean, everything that I've done, that to the extent anybody thinks it's an accomplishment, either at senior services or Alexandria or on the board or with the staff, it's all been built on the shoulders of the other people on the board, the other board members, the staff that I've worked with, the administration, and of course, in my life, it's built on the shoulders of both educators that I've had the privilege to be taught by, as well as friends and certainly family.
There's always more to be done. We continue to try and improve play spaces in the city. We are now working with some of the schools to improve the playgrounds that exist. In terms of gardening, we are always available to, help people if they are interested in establishing a garden or in enhancing a garden. We do see a lot of opportunity in terms of increasing access to healthy food. We are getting ready to release a study on food hardship in the city. And I think many Alexandrians would be surprised to know that there are people who are hungry in the city of Alexandria who do not have access to healthy food. And that's something that the Alexandria Childhood Obesity Action Network is committed to addressing.
I'd like them to, when they have children of their own, be involved in their community in some kind of way. and make sure that the politicians are not being politicians, but are, interested in the community and building the community and helping people move forward, not backward. And tell them that, after all, the United States is the leading country in this world, and we have a responsibility to keep that moving and not to be snobbish about it, because I think that's also important. Just don't think because you're Americans you're better than anybody else. Just remember that we have better opportunities than even now than a lot of places in the world. And that this is a great country. They need to preserve it, and we need to preserve our leadership.
I've also noticed in civic work that there's an awfully large amount of apathy, and that the citizens have to be urged to participate. And so I try to be a cheerleader with that and keep people coming to meetings and helping with the city. It seems that people only want to be heard, as I did originally, when they object to something like I did to the condominium they were going to build across the street from me. And you really need to have a maintained level of participation to work with the city to make it a better place.
If I were to tell someone how to get involved within the community, I would ask them to think long and hard about what really interests them, where is their passion, how do they think that they could most effectively contribute and help those less fortunate within the city. Would the person like to be helping the elderly? Would they like to help children? Would they like to help the homeless? Find a niche that really is an area that you think is important and where you can really impact lives and help them. And everybody's got to have a passion. You've got to contribute to society in some meaningful way. It's critical. We're here, put on earth, to help others wherever possible. So we need to each be involved in the community and give back to our greatest capabilities.